From where the West begins in Fort Worth, Texas, to around the globe, you are listening to Talk in the Night. I'm your host, Paranormal Phil, and later on in the show tonight, we're going to be opening up the phone lines where you, the listeners, can call in and share your stories, experiences, or questions that you might have about the paranormal or just about anything. But first, we're going to do a little news story here as soon as my computer stops being stupid here for a second. Everything you need to know about Halloween 2018. From the holidays, Celtic history to the year's top costumes, here's what to know to have a smart and scary holiday. The scariest and silliest sugarless night of the year is finally upon us. Americans take their Halloween pretty serious, including myself, which I love scaring the heck out of people. I've been doing that for over 20 years, but this year I'm not. This year I'm actually doing something for Talking the Night. It's called Ghost Talk. Like Coast to Coast AM has Ghost to Ghost AM. I got Ghost Talk. So that's what's going on Halloween night for me. But like I said, most people take Halloween pretty seriously, even if many of us don't know exactly why we carve pumpkins, hang fake ghosts, and hand out candy or dress up like something dragged in by the graveyard cat. As it turns out, we've been wearing Halloween costumes for nearly 2 millennia, but we've added plenty of modern twists to this ancient tradition. If I can talk tonight. Excuse me. To help us celebrate, we've summoned up the history as well as a number of fun-sized facts. And stuff like that. And of course, I'm going to post this story up on the Talk in the Night website. I swear I cannot talk tonight. I don't know why. But I'm going to post this up on the Talk in the Night website. And if you are listening to the chat or listen to the show tonight, if you're listening on Spreaker, pop into the or go to Spreaker.com, and when you go there and find Talk in the Night on the player, there's a little chat bubble. Click on that, pop in the chat, say hi, let me know you're listening. I do interact with the listeners and everything like that. So if you got any questions and you don't want to call in to the show, but you want to ask the question in the chat, I'd be glad to answer the questions there. But getting back to that news story, of course, the holiday started out as a Celtic festival of the dead and stuff like that. I've done a Into the Paranormal YouTube video on it, so you can check out that there. So I want to, I'm just trying to share that I am live now. So yeah, check out Into the Paranormal. You can learn about the pagan Celtic history of Halloween there. Let's see. Let's get down in this story here a little bit with more of the current stuff. Now, of course, Halloween started out as a Celtic kind of festival, and it arrived here in America in the 1800s and just kind of grew from there, because the Puritans before that the Christian faith did not want to celebrate anything as far as pagan holidays. And please bear with me, I'm just sharing the show right now real quick. Now, of course, there's different urban legends, poison candy, killer clowns, which we've seen in the couple past years, where we get these clowns running all over the place, scaring the heck out of people. And no, it wasn't me. But Halloween has become a big business, especially with the candy business. They make millions of dollars off of the candy. Now, like I said, there's all kinds of content on this story. Like I said, I'll post it later, probably tomorrow morning, on the show's website, where you can read it for yourself, because it's a long news story. So, excuse me. So be sure to check that out. Now, I have one of a potential guest sending me a message on Facebook. I'll have to get to him after the show, or maybe during a commercial break. So let's get into open lines, where you, the listeners, can call in, share your stories, experiences, or questions. Now, during open lines, I ask that you keep the calls very short, no longer than 5 minutes, just so that if we got a bunch of callers calling in, which hasn't happened as of late, because I'm just getting this show restarted, basically, but there's always that chance that it could happen. So please keep the calls under 5 minutes. Don't let me know your last name, just the first name if you want. If you don't want to mention your name, that's fine. I swear I cannot talk tonight. That's fine. And like I said, I'm not going to ridicule for your stories, your experiences, because I guarantee you I've probably been through it myself, and I'm not going to do anything like that for you. So we got open lines. The numbers to call in are by Skype at Talk in the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. Also, again, the Spreaker chat is open, and I want to welcome Nicole into the chat. Yes, I do interact with the listeners. I won't mention your name if you don't want it mentioned. I just happen to know Nicole, so I'll mention her name, just her first name. But the Spreaker chat is open. If you listen to the show on Spreaker, go to the show for tonight, Open Lines, and then click on the little chat bubble, pop in there, say hi, let me know you're listening. So let's get into some questions here. And here is a couple of questions here. Should I get a haunted doll? Now, Nicole, who is in the Spreaker chat, has some haunted dolls, and well, you can find out all about that on the 30th because I'll have her on my show for a guest. And she's written a couple of books. You'll find that you'll hear the ad played during the first commercial break, as well as a banner ad up on the Talking the Night website, talkingthenight.weebly.com. So the question, should I get a haunted doll? I wanted a haunted doll. I found a place that lets you adopt them, and I thought it was cool. I want to be one, because I love paranormal stuff, but my brother is afraid and my dad thinks the stuff is stupid. I told him I was thinking about getting one, and he told me how sad it is that I believe that stuff. Am I stupid for wanting this? Well, of course, it depends on what your age is. One, if you're under 18, I would say kind of obey your parents on this. But as far as haunted dolls go, there is really no haunted doll. You hear about Annabelle and stuff like that. The doll is not possessed by a spirit. This was a doll that belonged to somebody, and yes, they're attached to it, but they're not there constantly moving it or anything like that. It's just not going to happen. Now, of course, all of this is my opinion from being in the paranormal field for almost 30 years. But I would also be wary to wonder if they are actually haunted, because if you go out and buy one and it's not haunted, you're going to be disappointed. Now, by haunted, I mean that there is a spirit that is attached to it. And it don't have to be the original owner of the doll. It can be any spirit that finds, well, that doll looked like something that they had as a kid when they were alive, and they want to mess with it, make it move, manipulate it that way. So, again, the doll is just a tool. It's not actually haunted itself. So let's get into another question here. And once again, the phone line is open. The chat room is open. If you got any questions, stories, experiences, pop in the chat, say hi, ask there, or call into the show and let me know your questions or stories or experience. I swear I cannot talk. As you can hear I'm a little hoarse in my voice tonight. And I think it's because we've been getting a lot of rain here in North Texas. So I just hope I'm not coming down with a cold. All right, so the next question is, I think I'm psychic. Well, it was kind of crazy. I had a dream that my mom told me that she had a miscarriage years ago before I was born. It was a bit random, and I brought it up to my mother the other day, and she confirmed that she was a bit shaken up because she had never really talked about it to anyone, not even my father. What could this mean? It's just not. It's not just that it's another thing. It's other things too. Now, as I mentioned before on this show and even my YouTube channel, everybody has that ability to open up their third eye to be psychically in tune. Now, whether a lot of people choose to do that or even want to, that is up to them. Now, again, I've mentioned this in the show multiple times, and I'm going to mention it again because of this question. If you got small kids, have them tune off the radio or step out of the room for about 5 minutes while I explain this, because I don't want to destroy their reality. And the reason why I say this is because I call it the Santa Claus effect. And I'm just kind of stalling here a little bit just so you can get the kids out of the room. So what is the Santa Claus effect? Why did I come up with that term? Why did I choose to explain it that way? Well, when we're young, we're told Santa Claus is real. As we grow up, we're told Santa Claus is not real. Same thing with the spirit world. When we're young, our minds are not corrupted by the everyday world, and we're not corrupted by the everyday world, and we can see and communicate with spirits. But as we grow older, for a lot of us, we're told that it's not real. It's just our imagination. It's basically not happening. Well, that ability gets pushed from our third eye in the front all the way to our deepest, darkest parts of our subconscious. That ability is still there, but it is locked so deep inside that we forget how to unlock that ability. Now, I'm hoping to have somebody on the show at a later date to help me explain that, because we're going to be talking with this guest about how to open up that third eye, how she goes about it. I've already explained it in my YouTube videos on how to do it, or the way I teach people how to do it. But, again, if you want to learn how to do this, I'm going to put this disclaimer out there. Learn a little bit about it and learn what you need to do before you even try it. Now, as far as the question goes, now there also is something else that I am picking up here. And yes, I do have my third eye open tonight. I might not do readings in the second hour. Possibly. I don't know. But what I'm getting from this is this person said that this person's mother had a miscarriage years before this person was born. Well, as for me, I believe that we go through reincarnation or some form of reincarnation into the next life. Now, it don't happen instantaneously, but this person might have, or might be, just the reincarnated spirit or soul from the child that this person's mother had beforehand and it had a miscarriage. That could be a quite possible scenario to this question. Like I said, that's what I'm picking up from the spirit world. Now, you can take me for my word or you don't have to. That's up to you. Once again, the phone lines are open. If you want to call into the show, Skype in the night or by phone at 817-717-5561. Also, if you're listening on Spreaker or anywhere else, but you want to pop in the chat and interact with me, the host, go to Spreaker.com, look for Talking the Night, and when you go to tonight's show, hit the little chat bubble, pop in the chat, say hi, let me know you're listening. So let's get to another question. Let me check the chat and see if there's any questions there real quick or anything else. Now, here is a fairly good question. And the question is, since I spent so many years in the paranormal field, going out to locations and everything like that, the question is, how do investigators determine a location is haunted? Well, what you see on those paranormal TV shows is only an hour of what actually takes place for an investigation. Because when my team went out to determine if that location was haunted, unless we heard other stories, and even then we wouldn't say it's haunted. I'm trying to think of an example. Okay, so like the Queen Mary, everybody knows it's haunted. But if it was just coming out that it was haunted, and it was just out there, but nobody really ever talked about it, how would we know that it is really haunted? Well, what my team used to do is go to the location and talk to somebody in charge, whether it be a private home, a private business, a college I've done before. But we go and talk to those that have had those experiences. And we go through a whole list of questions to ask the client, so we get an idea on what they're experiencing. Then we go through a little walkthrough with the client and go through the building or whatever, the grounds, and hear the stories of what they are experiencing. Now, of course, with me being highly psychic, I would avoid those type of points at all costs if I could. Because when I go into a location, I don't want to know what is going on. I want to be able to use my own abilities to find out what's going on. And I'll give you an example. And I talked about this last week when I had my friend David Oman out in Beverly Hills. And I'm going to mention this real quick before I get into that. Is if you're out in the Los Angeles area and would like to go on a ghost investigation where many paranormal TV shows have been, he has a ghost investigation tomorrow night. Now, I'm not certain if he's still got tickets available, but you can find out for yourself. Go to the omanhouse.com and check it out there. You can also check out his videos from his home at the youtube.com/David Oman. Now, that's one location that I've investigated and been a part of leading tours there for over 200 times. in like a 3 or 4 year span. So there's always something new happening there. But it's been on shows such as Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, My Ghost Story, Paranormal Witness, Haunted History, and so forth. It's been on all those shows. But you can investigate it for yourself. Now, as I was talking, we do the we ask the questions, we do a walkthrough. And of course, somebody like myself will walk the location by myself with one of the persons that is experiencing it. But I won't go on the initial walkthrough where they're talking about everything. I'll go through with them, and the person that owns the place or whatever, or leads that building, they'll just show me around. But other than that, they don't tell me nothing. And of course, if the team has a really good psychic in it, they're going to be able to tell you whether or not that it is in fact haunted. Now, sometimes people, when they go on these little walkthroughs and they're not open or in tune to the psychic world, then they still might feel something or hear something. Now, once that has gone through, once you've asked the questions, once you've done the walkthrough, you talk with the client, you set it up to where you'll come back and check it out or not check it out, depending on what the psychic in your group says and what you have felt. And then you'll set it up and get in there. Typically, a investigation takes 4 to 6 hours. Now, like I was saying, the TV shows are only showing you 1 hour of what goes on. All that stuff that I mentioned before the investigation doesn't even get on the air. Or at least not all of it. They show them talking to the client, but other than that, they don't show the walkthrough. They don't really, or anything like that. So there is a lot that goes into it. But you do the investigation 4, 6, sometimes 8 hours. I've been at the Omen House like 8 hours doing an investigation, and that is a lot of material to go through, whether it be video, audio, stuff like that. So once you've done the investigation, of course, you got to go back, review all the evidence that you've captured, audio, video, everything like that, which could take a couple of weeks, depending on how many people are working on it. And if anybody wrote down times for the activity they experienced. So you got all that 2 weeks after the investigation. Then you go back, present the information, the evidence to the client, show them what's going on, and then, of course, then they might call in somebody like myself that does cleansing of homes and businesses, if it's got a darker nature, or they might want somebody like myself or anybody else that can do this to help that spirit cross over into the light. Now, of course, myself, I'm a light worker, so I am very good at what I do. But we're at the commercial break. We'll be back with more open lines and your stories, questions, and experiences.
Voices in my head know me, call me. I will be restless. Somehow they chose me. This is my nightlife. Wanna be high life. I feel so reckless. Calling them all night.
Are you a ghost hunter or paranormal enthusiast and need equipment to go out and investigate locations that have spirit activity? Well, GhostStop.com has all the equipment that you will need. They have a Boo Buddy ghost hunting kit for $169.95, or how about a Keep Calm and Ghost Hunt t-shirt for $19.95. Click on the banner ad at the top of the Talking Tonight website and get shopping today. GhostStop.com, your one-stop shop for all your ghost hunting needs. Do you have a paranormal team? Are you a small-time author? Do you have a radio show that you would like to promote? Is there anything that you would like to get the word out there about but don't have a big budget? Well, Talking Tonight has an opportunity for you to sponsor the show without breaking your wallet. Contact the show at talkingtonight@outlook.com or on the show's website or Facebook page for more details. Do you think you have a haunted or cursed object? Well, Nicole Gaspard does, and in her book Haunted Vessels and Cursed Objects, she talks about her continued paranormal and supernatural ghost encounters, haunted dolls, and other items that are supposed to be haunted or cursed. Pick up your copy today on Amazon.com.
I've called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for everything that I've done, but when I call you, never seem to be home. Hello from the outside.
To call into the show, Skype Talking the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. And now back to Talking the Night with more of your open line phone calls. Okay, and we are back. Once again, the phone lines are open. The chat room is open where you can join the show, ask your or share your stories and experiences, or ask a question. I promise you, again, I will not ridicule you. I will give you my opinion from being in the field 30 years, actively searching out answers that I've been in the field. Now, as far as my first experience, I was 5 years old, and I've been living the paranormal life since. So, I mean, you can say about 40 years of it have been in the field, if you look at it that way. So let's get into another question here. And what is an EVP? Now, for those that do not know the field and understand this stuff, or understand the acronyms such as EVPs and stuff like that, EVP is an electronic voice phenomenon. It's usually done by a back when I started, it used to be done with a cassette recorder. Those big gold bulky cassette recorders where you popped in a blank tape, press record, and you had to listen to it. Rewind it and play it back. Nowadays, we got digital recorders, which it makes it a little bit easier because we can download everything to our computers and use software to enhance sounds that we might get, so we can tell what we're hearing. But back when I started in the field, of course, you had pretty much that cassette recorder. You popped it into a player after you did your recording, listened to it on a headset, or you played it back and put it up to your ear. That's what I did. And I would listen to some of these EVPs that I would catch just by holding up this cassette recorder to my ear. So, like I said, a lot of things have evolved over the years. Now, when I got started, there wasn't these paranormal TV shows, and a lot of people did ridicule people like myself that had these experiences unless they had them themselves. But with the TV shows, it's opened up a new light to the paranormal field, so where people can understand some of this. Like I said, when you see those paranormal TV shows, you're only seeing 1 hour of what really goes on in an investigation. Another question is, I've heard of a vortex. What is this? Now, a vortex, I've had many experiences with those, especially at the Omen House. And again, I'm highly psychic, so what I'm about to tell you, I'm not making up. I would not tell a lie like this or anything like that. This is actual fact. And this has to do with a portal or vortex to the spirit world. And while I'm driving, I wasn't driving, my friend was driving. I was doing all the navigation, looking on a map, and I pulled up the location and zoomed in. Well, by just looking at that picture, I pointed at the map on a certain spot and said there's a vortex here. There's a portal to the spirit world. Now, of course, I knew nothing of the location because I didn't want to. And we get there, and I find out the spot that I pointed out, there was activity there where a 5-gallon bucket of water tipped uphill, which is impossible. But when you got there, you could also feel the heaviness, the feeling like you're underwater. And like if you go underwater in like a swimming pool or out in the ocean, and you hear that just kind of mute sound from your ears and stuff like that, or that feeling like that, that's what it feels like to stand inside a vortex or a portal to the spirit world. Now, of course, that veil between our world and the spirit world has been getting thinner and thinner over the past couple of years. But also on All Hallows Eve, Halloween, Samhain, however you want to call it, that is the night when the veil gets its thinnest. And that is going to be an interesting night for Talking the Night when I do Ghost Talk, because the spirit world is going to be readily easy to come through. And I guarantee you, if I don't shut down things that night, unless I plan on doing any readings, which I don't think I'm going to do that night, I'm just going to take stories and questions. But the spirits are going to bug the hell out of me that night, or try to. So I gotta shut it off to where they're not going to want, where I'm not going to pay attention to them that night, because the veil again is going to be at its thinnest on October 31st. Now, of course, not everybody is going to believe this. It's up to you what you really wanted to believe and everything like that. So, yeah. So let's get into another question. Once again, the phone lines are open. Feel free to call in to the show. Call-in numbers are by Skype at Talk of the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. Now, if you're listening to this as a recorded version, no, the phone lines are not open then, just when I'm live. Also, the Spreaker chat is open. Pop in the chat, say hi. I might not type the words in, but I will say it over the air. Ask your questions, share your stories and experiences in there. And I will read them. I will give you an answer, my opinion on things. Like I said, just feel free to join the show. I promise you, I don't bite. All right, so let's get to another. Now, going back to the Omen house, this question is not because of that, but it kind of plays off of that. The question is, if ghosts were real and you had a choice, would you like one or more to live with you in your house? Now, most people would say no. David has multiple spirits. He lives in that house. They're always there. There is multiple vortexes in his home and around it to where the spirit world comes through. I have spirits constantly visiting me. I don't let it bother me. But like I said, not everybody is going to be able to handle something like that. Let me check the chat here real quick. Okay. So, again, it's what you want. Now, if you do have spirits and you don't want them living with you, then it's up to you to let the spirits know, this is my time, my space. You're not welcome here. You don't have to get angry with it. You just need to stand firm and let the spirits know, this is no longer your place. Your place is on the other side. And they'll leave. But you got to remain firm. If you show any fear, especially if it's a darker entity, it's going to feed off of that. If you don't show that confidence, they're probably not going to leave. They're just going to probably laugh at you, in a sense. But it's all up to what you believe and if you want those spirits there with you or not. All right, so another question here is, what is a certified ghost hunter? And I will tell you right now, there is no such thing as a certified ghost hunter. Ghost hunting or paranormal investigation is basically a hobby at that for most people. Now, unless you got like a TV show or you really charge for your investigations, which I never did, but to each their own. I mean, there is nobody that is actually a certified. There is no course that says you take this course, you're a ghost hunter. No. You have to have that passion, that dedication to do this. And like I said, a lot of people do this as a hobby. They put their money into it, their time, the travel into this, and don't ask for anything in return. Or they might get gas money or something like that. But for the most part, a lot of teams do not ask for money, or at least my team did, and other teams that I've known don't. So, once again, there is no such thing as a certified ghost hunter. You just got to have the passion for it. You got that passion, you got that dedication, then by all means go for it. But also, on another note, if you're just beginning in the field, don't go out there and expect that you're going to be an expert at this, or you're going to see a ghost on your first experience. It's just not going to happen. It might, but it most likely won't. There have been times that I have been in a location and sat in complete darkness for about 60 minutes with nothing happening, just complete quiet, just me and a digital recorder asking questions, being quiet, asking questions, being quiet. And that can happen, or there are times when the activity can be off the charts, which in case with the Omen House. There are days where an activity can be off the charts, and then there's days when nothing happens, or it waits till the end of the night. So, again, there is no such thing as a certified ghost hunter. So if you got that in your mind, get it out there, because it ain't real. There is no such thing. Let's get into another question here, and let's see what we got here. What is the scariest thing you have ever witnessed as a kid? And, of course, me being a light worker and doing what I do, I really don't get scared. I was more the kind of kid that was the daredevil at an early age. I had no fear. I still don't have fear. I'm actually more afraid of the living than I am the dead, because the dead is not going to really hurt you. The living can. So that's why I say that. Now, as far as my scariest experience, it wasn't really as a kid. It wasn't really scary, but it did have me concerned. And that was my very first investigation back in 1992. I was living up in Northern California, where there was a old farmhouse that had been used as a slaughterhouse. And I don't remember how long it had been there, and I don't think it's actually still standing to this day. But me and some friends decided to go to this location. It was abandoned. Here's a little disclaimer. If you're new to the field or you've been in the field for a while, do not go to a location unless you have permission to do so. I was young. I was stupid. I went in there with my friends, and luckily we didn't get arrested for trespassing or anything like that, because it's in the middle of nowhere, basically, and not many cops in that little small town. So luckily that didn't happen. But if you go to a location, always make sure you got permission to go to that location first. Do not go in there without the permission. That being said, me and my friends went into this location, and like I said, it was a slaughterhouse for animals. And to kind of bring you up on this story first is I would walk by this house even during the daylight to go from where I worked and lived all the way to town. And one time I passed by there. There's the house, a big open field, no bushes, nothing like that, nothing where any animals could show up right away and disappear right away. So I was walking past by, and I saw like maybe 2 cows, a sheep, I think it was a duck, I'm trying to remember. But there was farm animals there. And I'm looking, and I thought, passed by, I've never seen the animals there before. I was like, what the heck is going on? But it didn't really hit me at that moment. And I passed by about 10 feet after I passed by. Something told me to turn around and look. Just 10 feet away. There's no way these animals could have disappeared behind the house. Not even that quick. But I turned around, nothing there. They were all completely gone. But these animals looked as real as me and you. So I told my friends and co-workers about what I experienced, because they explained they had those same experiences. So they always wanted to check it out. So we went into this house. Now this is where it gets to kind of the scary part, if you will, or at least for me. It wasn't really scary, but it was just disconcerting. Because it was a slaughterhouse at one time. All the tools for slaughtering the animals were hanging from the roof. And this is up in Northern California, so if an earthquake struck and we were in there, some of those tools could have came down and killed us. That's why it got frightening and disconcerting. Otherwise, as far as the spirit activity that happened there, nothing. So again, if you go to a location, make sure you have permission. Nicole in the chat asks, are abandoned places usually haunted? Not necessarily. Trying to think of a location. There is a place out in Riverside, California, that it's not too far where I grew up from. And this place was reportedly haunted. Well, I went there, nothing. And it was an abandoned place. Of course, I had permission to go there first. I didn't just go there. I got permission first. So abandoned places, sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends on the spirit there, if there's any vortexes, if anything happened there, whether it be the building or the land. it doesn't matter. A lot of times, it's just not going to happen. I mean, say somebody lost a job, lost their home, and the home sits abandoned. That doesn't mean that it's haunted. It just means that it's been abandoned and nobody's there to take care of it or live there. Doesn't mean that there is any actual haunting going on at that location. So thank you again, Nicole, for that question. We got 5 minutes left, or 4 minutes left in the top of the hour. So if you got any call or questions, stories, experiences, feel free to call into the show and share those with me. And like I said, if you got a question, I'll answer honestly as possible with my opinion and my knowledge in the field. I guarantee you, I'm not going to lie to you. So once again, the phone lines to call in are 817-717-5561 or by Skype at Talk of the Night. So let's get one last question before we get into the commercial break in the second half of the show. Can I stop or get rid of a haunting? As far as a person that doesn't know what they're doing, especially if it's like a darker entity or demon, if you want to call it that. Of course, I don't believe in demons, but being Wiccan, I don't believe in the devil. I believe in a higher plane of existence. I believe in a lower plane of existence. I believe in light entities and dark entities. None of this demon or anything like that, what the Christian church, Christian faith teaches most people. So, again, my opinion, my belief systems, it's your opinion, your belief systems, what you want to believe in, that's all up to you. But those are just mine. But as far as like a dark entity, it's best to call in somebody like myself that has done that kind of work before to get rid of it. I would not try to do it on your own, especially if you have no experience whatsoever dealing with the spirit world. All right, so we're going to take a quick commercial break here in a second. Again, the phone lines are going to be open until the end of the show. So if you want to call in, share your stories, experiences, or questions, feel free to do so. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
My head is heavy, let me lay it down. Into your lap I would love to drown. I need that story I used to hear, to run on into and disappear. I won't lie down and I won't, I won't lie down and I can't do this without you. I won't lie down and I won't, I won't lie down and I can't do this without you. Your stories, they come from the heart. Glue me together and tear me apart.
Do you have a talk radio, Facebook Live, or YouTube show and would like guests for your show but don't know where to go to get them? Well, go to radioguestlist.com and sign up today. They have all different experts in different fields and you can find the ones that are just right for your show. That's radioguestlist.com. Sign up today. It's free.
If you like finding out about different things in the paranormal field, such as ghost stories, haunted locations, UFOs, cryptozoology, and much more, well, check out Into the Paranormal on YouTube, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Videos are posted once a week. To read about the story of Giant Rock and see the trailer of Giant Rock the movie, just click on the link on the Talk of the Night website and it'll take you right there. GiantRockTheMovie.com.
I've been through this before. I can taste it in the air, and it leaves me wanting more. You crossed me once, it's left a bitter taste, and now you push me, I will tear you down.
To call into the show, Skype Talk in the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. And now back to Talking the Night with more of your open line phone calls. Okay, and we are back in the second half of the show. Please don't leave me hanging doing all the talking here. If you want to call into the show, the phone lines are open. Call in, share your stories, experiences, or questions. I know my show is just getting started. I started like last week after a 6-month hiatus, or a little bit longer actually. And it's going to take a while to get listeners and grow the show. And I understand it's a Friday night, but if you work late and or you're up late on a Friday and nothing to do, call into the show. Like I said, it don't have to be about the paranormal. It can be just about anything. But, yeah, the phone lines are open. The chat room for Spreaker is open, so pop in there and say hi. Let me know. I got Nicole in the chat there. And, of course, I'm in the chat. So I'll answer questions on the air if you want to type them in rather than call. Nicole, that's up to you if you want to do that. It's completely up to you. But before I get into any calls, real quick, I want to talk about this question, because this goes with my guest last night, and I apologize for the sound quality of the call. It was not on my end. My guest lives down in Baja, California, along the coast in a mountainous terrain area. And, of course, the reception sucked. Other than that, it was a great show talking about UFOs, aliens, and stuff like that. So this is the question. What is the best evidence that we have an alien abduction being real? And for anybody that don't think that they're real, check out Chad Meek's website, Giant Rock the Movie, which is linked up to the show's website. Check out his late uncle, George Van Tassel, and learn his experience. Or listen to last night's show and you can hear about it. So, yes, they do happen. People have reported them for many, many years. So yes, they are real. Once again, everything is linked up to the Talk in the Night website at talkingthenight.weebly.com. Alright, let's get to another question, and let's see. Okay, this is what I talked about earlier as far as being able to cleanse homes of darker entities and stuff like that. And it says, can anyone guarantee to get rid of a haunting? Now, I can get rid of them, but it is up to the person where that activity is going on to keep it that way. If you got dark entities in your home and you want somebody like myself to come in and cleanse it, let me do my work. Listen to what I have to say afterwards, because I mentioned to people, do not practice the dark arts of magic. Do not get into the darker side of the occult. Don't pretty much go out there putting in the intent to attract these darker entities or these spirits to you, because if you put the wrong intent into it, that is what you're going to get out of it. So, yes, I can get rid of it, but it is up to the person that I'm doing this for at their place to keep it that way. Because I will tell you this, there was a case where I did that. I got rid of the darker entity, only to come back and find out that the person was still messing in the darker arts. After I told them, do not do this, because you want this gone, you gotta listen to me. You gotta let me do my job. And I did get rid of it, but it came back. Why? Because, once again, the person allowed it to. They practiced the dark arts, or maybe it wasn't that actual person, the homeowner of the home. It was somebody they knew, but they allowed it back into their home regardless. And, of course, I got called back to try and do it again, which I did. Now, I haven't been back since. I haven't heard from the person since. Of course, I was out in California. Now I live in Texas. But I don't think I'll ever hear from the person again, because obviously I got the feeling that they did not want the help. I'm just typing in the chat. I do type in the chat every once in a while, because like I said, I do love interacting with my listeners. You're not going to get too many shows like that where the hosts will interact with the listeners. They're busy doing their show, talking about what they talk about. But that is up to each host and everything like that, whether they want to do that or not. Alright, so let's get into another question. Once again, the phone lines are open. Numbers to call in are by Skype at Talk in the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. Also, the Spreaker chat is open. Feel free to pop in there, say hi, let me know you're listening. Don't even have to ask a question. Just pop in there and say, I'm listening. Hello. That's all. But if you don't do that, I'm not going to hold that against you. I want to thank everybody that listens to the show and continues to follow the show, because I'll have some great guests coming up And of course, pretty soon I'm gonna be working on some big name guests. And I hate to drop names, but I'm gonna do it. Because by the end of the year, there are 3 guests that I want to get on my show that are not small-time authors, or not experts in their field, if you will, or anything like that. They're big-name guests. Now, there's no guarantee I'm going to get them, but those 3 that I would love to have on my show, and I'm going to try to get them on my show. One, we got a call coming in. Let's answer the call. Hello, you're on the air with Paranormal Phil on Talk of the Night. Hello, you're on there. There we go.
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, Nicole.
How are you?
Just a little tired, and a little hoarse, but other than that, I'm good.
Yeah, I hope you're not come down with something.
So, did you have a story, experience, or a question that you wanted to share with the listeners?
Lately, I don't see my videos lately, but I think I've been getting UFO here, California.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I saw another one tonight.
Well, I mean, as we were stating on the show last night with my guests, that there are parts of California that are hot spots for UFO activity. And now UFOs are just that, unidentified flying objects. It does not mean that they are extraterrestrial in nature. It's just something that we cannot identify. But care to tell us a little more about that UFO experience?
Yeah, and I noticed it in the same area, just a little bit of a different spot, kind of like hovering over the hills behind us.
Okay. Did it move any, or is it just staying stationary?
More stationary. Unlike the last time, the one before this, it shot straight up to the moon real quick.
Okay, now sometimes like a stationary, or if it's moving slow, which I talked with my guests last night about, is a satellite. You can tell when it's a satellite because it's going to move looking slowly across the sky, but at a very high altitude. Same thing with a space station. If it's continuously stationary, it could be a star, it could be a planet. It doesn't mean that it is a UFO.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying what you experienced wasn't a UFO. I'm just saying, for me being in the field so long, I tend to look at the terrestrial explanation and try to find answers that way before I even call anything paranormal. Because skepticism is healthy in the paranormal field. If we all believed in the spirit world without any kind of skepticism, then it would be a dull field.
Yeah. This time I just more videos too. So I just got the videos just in case.
All right, and I see the video. I want to say that was possibly just a planet.
Okay.
But again, with the video, it was too far away, too blurry. I could not tell for certain, but yeah, right now I'm being told by the spirit world that it was a planet.
Okay.
So that one wasn't a UFO tonight.
Not okay. All right. Makes sense.
So thank you for sharing your UFO experience and story.
All right. And could I ask one more question?
Sure.
I always wonder if his spirits communicate with us through dreams, like when we're sleeping, or send us messages.
Through dreams?
Yeah.
Yes, they can. It's almost like they help us have like premonitions or visions.
Yeah, I have those a lot.
They can communicate through the dream realm, the REM sleep.
Yeah.
Because in REM sleep, that is when we experience a lot of dreams and lucid dreams and out-of-body experiences. Yeah. That's the time when our world and their world is almost kind of in sync, if you will.
Right.
As we were talking last night, again, thank you for your question. I'm going to end the call here, but I'll finish the question or the answer. We were talking about this last night on the show with my guest, is that radio tune. If you tune a station to a radio station and just knock it one knob off, you're going to get something completely different or static. It's there. It's just you got to go back to that and tune into that. And that's the same kind of thing with dreams and everything like that. You could be just that one dial off and miss that realm of the spirit world. And that's usually what's happening. All right, so let's get into another question. Here, let's see. And I saw something and I lost sight of it. Okay, do different countries have different paranormal beliefs? For somebody that has been outside the country, to Europe and stuff like that, yes, everybody's going to have a different belief in the paranormal. Like Indian, people from India, they believe in reincarnation, especially the Buddhist monks and everything like that. Whereas most people here in the U.S. won't believe in that kind of stuff. Every different culture is going to have their own beliefs on this. Now, here in the U.S., it's more stifled. It's not readily out there as it would be in a different country. I took a Lyft ride like a couple of Saturdays ago from the bar back home, and I had somebody that was from India, and we talked about reincarnation and stuff like that and the different beliefs and everything like that from country to country. And he talked about that here we're open to different opinions where you don't got that opinion in there in a different country. But with the belief system such as reincarnation with the Buddhist monk, that is their belief. Mexico, they got and I hate trying to pronounce that word, but the Day of the Dead, that's their belief in the paranormal. Everybody has a different belief when it comes to the paranormal. Nobody is ever going to know exactly what happens on the other side until we get there ourselves. even with people that have near-death experiences, can't tell you the whole full story of that other side. If you believe in reincarnation, like I do in a certain sense, not like the East Indian people and the Buddhist monks, but I believe as a Wiccan, we go to the Summerland. It's a place of rest, a place of reflection upon our life, and then we move into the next life. Unless we become like a ascended master or a guardian angel, if you want. And then we lose all that memory of that other side. Now, we might remember the past life, but what we know of the other side does not follow us into the next life. So once we get to that point, to the other side, we're gone from this earth and stuck in that higher plane of existence or lower plane of existence. We don't know what really goes on on that side of the veil. Let's see here. I know I'm saying a lot, but I usually don't do a lot of talking for my show because I usually have the guests do most of the talking. And I want to get the show to the point where I have multiple people calling into the show. So I don't have to do all the talking. Not that I don't love doing this, because I love explaining the paranormal to people. I love helping people understand what is going on in the paranormal. It's something that I have had a joy of doing for like 40 years. 30 of it, almost 30 of it, actually searching out the paranormal. Let's see. Now, here's an interesting question right here. What is more believable, aliens or ghosts? Well, to each their own. I mean, there are some people that believe in ghosts but not aliens, or aliens and not ghosts. Some that believe in both, which I do. And some that don't believe in neither. But it's hard to pass up the whole thing of the hieroglyphs from the ancient Egyptians, the Mayans, stories like Edgar Casey and Coral Castle. So many things. It's hard to say it's not real as far as extraterrestrial life or alien life. Our universe is very big, and our galaxy is even bigger. To say there is no life out there, no intelligent life, well, for those that do not believe in aliens, I simply say, how do you know that it doesn't? Simple as that. Now, I'm not going to try and change anybody's belief system. That's not who I am. I offer my opinion. I tell you what I think. And it's up to you, the listeners, to decide whether you want to believe it or not. Now, same thing with ghosts and spirits. Not everybody's going to want to believe in it. Dr. Randy has offered multiple times for people to prove the existence of the afterlife or superpowers or something like that. And he's one of those diehard skeptics. I don't care if Bigfoot showed right up in front of him and shook his hand, he would say that it was somebody in a costume. Or if it was a ghost and spirit, he could see through it. He'd be like, okay, it's a Pepper's ghost effect or something like that. There's always going to be those diehard skeptics that you're not going to convince anything to them. It's just not going to happen. So it's up to you whether you want to believe what you hear, what I'm talking about, or anything like that. Now, here's a question. Have you ever, or what are some of the paranormal experiences that you have had? And again, being in the field for so long, I've had many. I want to say my first and only UFO sighting was, I want to say, about 15, 20 years ago almost. And this thing zipped across the sky, stopped on a dime, went back the other direction a little bit, and then zigzagged back the other direction that it was originally going. That don't happen with our aircraft. Now, was it extraterrestrial? I can't say for certain, but I know it wasn't no meteorite. I know it wasn't a helicopter because it did it at extremely high speeds, like a fighter jet type speed. But a fighter jet is not going to stop on a dime. And it's certainly not going to go backwards and then forward again. So was it extraterrestrial in nature? I don't know. Was it a UFO? Yes, because it was unidentified. It was a flying object. So, therefore, it was a UFO, but whether it was extraterrestrial in nature or not, I don't know. It could be actually something that our government created. As far as like ghosts and spirits, again, I've been to the Omen House many times. I've been to the Queen Mary many times. I've been to Tombstone, Arizona. I've been to places all over the world and in Europe, Canada. I've experienced places that are extremely haunted, or I've been to places where they say there's haunted and I don't experience a thing. Let's see, cryptozoology. I would love to have a site in Nessie, but I have to get over to Ireland to do that. But as far as cryptic creatures, I've seen Bigfoot. Yes, I've seen Bigfoot, the real thing. 8 to 12 feet tall. I can't tell you exactly how tall, but it was in that height range. Let's see, other cryptic creatures. Never had a sighting of chupacabra or any other type of thing. Now, there is a little mountain in Riverside. It's actually a hill, but it's called Mount Rubidoux. And there were reports of like elves on that mountain that would stack rocks in the path behind the path that you just took behind you. They would stack them up behind you. And those rocks would be in their pile of 3. Well, of course, I checked out that legend. I didn't run across anything. Whether that's true or not, I don't think it is, but there is always that possibility. But I didn't experience. So there are different aspects to the paranormal. It's not just what you might see in the ghost hunting TV shows where it is just ghost hunting. And ghosts and spirits. It's UFOs, it's aliens, it's cryptid creatures, mythical creatures. All this has a certain play into the paranormal. So we are at the final break of the night. We'll be right back with more open line phone calls and more questions, stories, and experiences.
I can see you from behind. You can hear me in your mind. Run so fast as you can go. Time will catch you before you know.
Just for Talking the Night listeners, go to vibrationalenergy.com and mention Talking the Night to receive a 10% discount off either a 30-minute intuitive spiritual reading or spiritual clarity session via phone or Skype with Debbie Anderson. Just click on the link on the Talking the Night website. If you would like the book, Proof of Survival by Mike Cavalli, which is available on Lulu.com and Amazon.com, go to Facebook.com/Sacred Circle Community and mention Talking the Night to get free shipping on the book. Just click on the link on the Talking the Night website. When you go to JamesGordonJr.com and subscribe to his free monthly Mind Power and Money Enzyme, you will get a free PDF copy of his book, Attract Money Forever. Just click on the link on the Talking the Night website for more information.
People gonna keep on talking about me.
In the dark night, all alone, I hear noises, but no one's home, so I walk out of my bedroom, looking around, don't know what to find, I'm freaking out, can't sleep anymore, gotta watch out. I hear knocks at the door, maybe it's paranormal activity, or am I just
To call into the show, Skype Talking the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. And now back to Talking the Night with more of your open line phone calls. Okay, and we are back in the last half hour of the show. So if you got any stories, experiences, or questions, and you would like to share them on the show, feel free to pop in the chat or call the show and share those. Again, each call no longer than 5 minutes, just in case I do happen to get a run on calls. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but it's quite possible. Now, of course, I want to mention this because I was looking during the commercial break at some of the questions, and people talking about cold cases, psychics helping police solve these cases and everything like that. And I think one asks, something about why they use these, or why the secrecy on using these psychics during these cases. Well, a lot of these psychics don't want the fame for it. They just want to help out. Now, also, I've mentioned this before, I'll mention it again. No psychic, no medium, no clairvoyant, no matter what, is ever going to be 100% right. And psychics that I know will say the same thing. Now, we do get messages, a lot of times symbols, and it's up to us to interpret those symbols. But again, and the reason why I'm going with it, or where I'm going with this, is if you got a lotto ticket for the Mega Million, if you live where there is a Mega Millions, the Mega Million is $1 billion tonight. I could use that kind of money, even just a small portion of it. I did get a ticket. I don't know if I won. I'll find out after I get off the show. But where I'm going with this is no psychic is ever going to be 100% right. Because if we were, I would be winning that $1 billion tonight, but I probably would also be sharing it with all the other psychics in the world, the actual ones. Now, if there are like little storefront psychics and stuff like that, I don't put much faith in them. And I will go to sometimes these locations and test these psychics because I know exactly what my abilities are, and I can tell if they're lying or not. So I'll test their abilities. But it's up to, even with me, as good as I am, like I said, I'm never going to be 100% right. It's up to you when I'm doing reading for you or telling you about something. It's up to you to take each word I say with a grain of salt. Don't out front believe me, but don't discount me either. Because I'm going to give you stuff to validate. And a lot of times, me and other psychics will tell you something that we wouldn't know about and you never told us about. And if it's true, validate it with us. Let us know it's true. Because that reaffirms your belief that we're actually telling you the truth. But don't discount if we get something wrong because, again, we're never ever going to be 100% right. All right, so the next question is it safe to use Ghost Radar app or any app for that matter? And what I tell people with this is that any app, any like a Ouija board, any kind of other stuff, Sage, digital recorders, K2 meters, everything like that that is used to connect with the spirit world. It is a tool, and it is the intent that you put into it is what you get out of it. If you're wanting to contact spirits, but you have that darker side to you, you're liable to get that darker side out of it. It's the intent that you put into it that is what you're going to get out of it. Now, I don't recommend anybody a first time experiencing this stuff to go out and try this. There's the disclaimer, so I'm putting it on the air. So just in case anybody tries it, I can tell people, well, here's the show. I warned them. So don't go out there trying to do it and thinking, okay, I can do this. I can handle this if something dark comes through. No. Unless you got a lot of experience like I do, I wouldn't even attempt it. Let's see. Again, Ouija boards, questions about it, or at least a Ouija board with a question mark. Again, it is a tool that you use, but it's the intent that you put into it is what you're going to get out of. Why do spirits and hauntings manifest themselves as ball lightning orbs? Again, something that we will not ever hold on. Somebody said they can't hear the audio, and I can hear myself. I got the mic unmuted, so I hope I'm coming in clear. If you can't hear me, pop in the chat or give me a Skype call and let me know if you can hear me or not. But everything should be good. I don't see any problem on my end. So let's get back to that ball lightning or orbs or something like that. And a lot of times it is the energy that they're using to produce that orb, that ball light, that energy, because the spirit, the soul, it's just pure energy. And they're feeding off electronics. If you go to a haunted location, you'll notice probably sometimes your phone battery will die, or your camera batteries will die. That's because these spirits are feeding off that energy. They can even feed off of our own energy to help manifest. Okay, she said that she can hear it now. It was just her computer. As I was like, no, my computer's, everything seems to be running fine. So, again, with ball lightning or orbs and stuff like that, it's just basically the spirit, the soul is pure energy. And that's a lot of times all they can muster to manifest. Okay, so Nicole asks, we saw some light flashes in my live video. Is that spirit? Hold on, I'm trying to... Now, if you hear me be quiet like that, it's usually because I'm actually getting a message from the spirit world. Now, I can't guarantee that I'm going to get the message for one person. It might be coming in from another person. That's why I'm trying to listen to the message that the spirit world is giving me. Okay, yeah, no, that doesn't have to do with it. Okay, so the question was, we saw some light flashes in my live video. Is that spirits? Quite possibly. I'll have to go back and look at it and see if that's the case or not. Now, light flashes in the video, it could be actually the video that is kind of messing up. It could be from a light source or something like that. So without hearing a message from the spirit world or seeing it myself, I can't give a definitive answer on that. But like I said, I always look for the terrestrial explanation first before I ever say it's paranormal unless I know it is paranormal. So to each their own belief system again. These are just my opinions, my thoughts, my experience. But that's just that. All right. Here's another question. Is sleep paralysis or... okay, so this person typed in the question wrong, so I got to try and interpret it. So it says if it's sleep paralysis or a ghost or just something strange. Let's actually click on the question, see if there's any more details on it. Okay, nothing other than that. So I think what they're trying to say here is, what is sleep paralysis? Is it a ghost? Is it the old hag that most people talk about? Or what is it? And what happens to our body when we're sleeping, if we get frightened or during a lucid dream or something like that, our muscles tighten up and we tend to like we're feeling like we're stuck there and something is sitting on our body. It's just our mind kind of playing tricks on us to believe there is something sitting on top of us holding us down, when it is actually our muscles tightening to keep us from rolling off the bed or a couch or anything like that, so that way we don't end up injuring ourselves. Now, if there is actually a spirit there, you should actually be able to move. So if you're experiencing sleep paralysis, it's usually our muscles tightening up in that REM sleep to keep us safe from rolling out of bed. Let me go to the Spreaker chat here. Okay, just want to see if we had anything new. We got 13 minutes left in the show. Before I get to the next question, I want to mention that next week's shows have not been posted yet. I will try to get to them tomorrow because this weather, it was rainy today. It wasn't really cold, but it was rainy, and this weather is just making me sleepy. I want to go to bed now, but of course I've got 12 more minutes. So let's answer this question. What is the creepiest or most paranormal thing that has ever happened to you? And I got a couple of weird ones that I've experienced that I can't really explain, other than what I know could have happened. And one is, I was at a location and saw this spirit walk right through me, and I got that real cold chill as it walked through me. The other one was in a home that had no electricity because it was being sold. It was in the middle of the summer. Even at 5 o'clock at night, it was still 105 degrees outside. So it was a lot warmer inside that house with everything closed up. Well, I was doing the cleanse of the home, which I did. But after the cleansing, we went to contact the family's grandfather that died in one of the rooms. And they wanted that closure beforehand, before they sold the home. And we did the communication, the small 10 by 12 room, something like that. It was small. And people across the room from me, and there was, I want to say, about 15, 20 people in this room, windows closed. Again, 105 outside, so it was about 120 in there with all the people and all the stuff closed up. Well, we communicated with this family's grandfather, and as soon as they got the answers that they wanted, I opened up a doorway for this grandfather's spirit to go on into the next plane of existence. And people across the room from me, at least 10 feet away, could feel like a cold air conditioning blast come off of me. If it was like my whole body was like an air conditioner sending out that cold air. So the room temperature dropped from about 120 degrees down to 70. That ain't gonna happen when you got that many bodies in a room with no circulating air and 105 degrees outside. So what happened there? I believe that the spirit of the grandfather used my energy to cross over into the realm of the other higher plane of existence. And when he did so, he used that energy to put off that cold blast to everybody. So those are probably my most interesting experiences that I've had. And of course, Friday night is time for you to share your stories, experiences, or for stuff like that, or ask a question. Got a fly flying around my microphone. Let's see. I think we got time for one or two more questions. So once again, the phone lines are open. If you want to call in, I got time for one more call. Or if you're in the chat and you want to ask a question, pop in there, ask a question real quick. I only got time for 2 questions as far as reading them, or 1 phone call. So let's get to another question here. Let's see what we got. Are there evil ghosts? All right. Okay. Now, of course, there are not. These, well, not in the sense like, I want to say, for the most part, they're going to be just plain spirits that are not going to cause any problem or anything like that. Now, you do have these troublesome spirits. They had that kind of prankster life, or when they were alive, or they were just downright evil in life. And yes, that could carry over into that afterlife, that other side. And they could, well, let's say, do a little more damage, if you will. But as far as the majority of spirits, nothing really bad about them. But there are going to be those that don't understand it and then want to say that they're all evil. I've run into those people too. Let's see. Now, here is a question that I did cover in my YouTube channel, which is YouTube Into the Paranormal. So check out that channel. Check it out on Facebook at ITP Into the Paranormal on Facebook. And You can find the video of where I talked about psychic abilities. But here's the question. Does meditating really help to develop your psychic abilities? And to each their own belief system, but the way I teach it, yes, meditation plays a big part in doing so. Now, you don't have to lay there for hours listening to meditative music to help you open your third eye. Take 30 minutes outside, just out in nature, relax, listen to the sounds. You don't have to close your eyes, don't have to take deep breaths, what you would think of most meditation stuff. So, yeah, meditation does play a huge part in opening that third eye, but it is not necessary to do so to do that. You pretty much have to clear your mind to where you can unlock that deepest part of your subconscious and pull it forward. Yes, meditation helps you do that, but again, being out in nature, enjoying the surroundings, even with your eyes open, no deep breaths, you're taking away the everyday thoughts of what's going on in life and just relaxing and understanding. And that's where meditation can happen, and opening that third eye can happen by just doing that. You don't have to meditate. So, again, it's almost midnight here in Fort Worth, Texas. I got 3 minutes. Let me see if I can find one quick question, and that's going to be it for tonight. And if you're in the chat room, pop in, ask a question. If I get to it, I'll answer it. If not, I'll get to it later. Have you talked to... Okay, hold on, not that question. Of course, my computer don't want to act right. So, let's see. All right. Wow, that is an interesting question. I don't know how to answer that question, believe it or not. This will be the last question of the night. Is there a ghost hunting show run by skeptics? And, of course, I'm not in that industry. People have tried to get me to get into a TV show and stuff like that. That's not me. But as far as a show run by skeptics, I don't think so. But, again, I could be wrong. One question that I just don't know about. So, we are at the end of the show tonight. Again, next week's show will be posted on the Talking the Night website at talkingthenight.weebly.com. As soon as possible, I'll try to get them up tomorrow. So until Monday night when I'm back on the air with a new guest, I shall see you on the dark side. Good night from Talking the Night.